the hell's his stupid ass name?
Jake.
Did you see the video of Jake? He got hella mad on one of the podcasts, and he started throwing his the prime juice, whatever. He's throwing him around. He's like, "Screw you, piece of shit! I was representing all your stuff, prime, in all of my camps, and you took my logo off of your shit or whatever."
That's what I'm saying. This fool's like almost like jealous or something, and then you won't even believe what he just did. So, Jake Paul has been like a big advocate for like making some type of union for the UFC. What he believes is that the UFC fighters are not being paid enough, and they're getting beat up, and their health is in jeopardy, and all these problems, right, that are going on in the UFC. So he says, hey, we need to make some kind of union to fight against this so we can get paid what we're supposed to. And
he's not even in the UFC.
He's not in the UFC, but he's trying to. He's saying that he wants to fight for that, right? Now, this fool, Logan Paul, went and made a deal with the UFC for $200 million, just like a few days ago.
Logan Paul made a deal with the UFC?
Yeah, so Logan Paul made a deal with the UFC to so that the prime drink is going to be the official drink of the UFC.
Oh, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, so I was like, bro, your brother's fighting against it, and you're just clicking up with it. Like, what the hell's going on here, bro?
That's grimy as hell. I would be on my brother's side. Like, all right, well, let's fight the UFC together if we're going to do it. What the hell?
Yeah, but I mean, then that's the reason why I tell you, there is no comparison with Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate. Those fools are loyal to each other.
That's true, yeah.
This fool's a freaking dick. He'll throw his brother in the freaking under the bus.
Yeah, Logan Paul, you a bitch.
Hey, that's just our opinion, but you can do what you want with it.
In my humble opinion.
Well, that's the thing, man. Like, how you gonna be like that with your brother? You gonna...
That's grimy.
Oh, I'm gonna go do business with my brother's enemy, and then he's best friends with his brother's enemy.
Yeah, that's grimy.
So anyway, this fool Logan Paul's been getting roasted all over. He did the crypto zoo scam, and then he's been getting smashed and roasted by the Christian community because he criticized the crap out of George, who was his co-host on the podcast, talking crap about the Christian stuff, you know. And I guess he's been just getting smashed online. People talking crap online, all the freaking interviews and whatever. Not interviews, but in the comments, like he's just being roasted. Mm-hmm. So then he did another podcast acting like all of a sudden he believes in God. And he feels like ever since he... See, he's such a sellout. Because at first he was talking shit. This was like, yeah, well, somehow your God is not doing nothing for you, obviously. Like, he was talking shit, like, whatever, straight up shit.
Yeah, and then he got a bunch of, like, heat from everybody else, and he realized that he's not getting the support that he wanted, and then he instantly folded. Well, actually, now I believe, and, yeah, but please like me again.
Right. And, and like, don't quote me on it, because I don't know if I'm saying it right, exactly what he said, but he's like, oh, you know how I know there's a God? Because he's been punishing me ever since that happened. I went to the airport and they took my $30,000 camera. And then the night before, I don't even know, like all these things, supposedly God's whooping his ass. So he tried to like act like, oh my God, like he's all of a sudden he believes, you know. I was like, bro, you're such a sellout. You'll do whatever just so people don't cancel you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So now George went and started his own podcast. Shout out to George. What's happening? It's actually kind of interesting. And it's kind of funny because he was not like the most talkative on the other podcast. Mm-hmm. But on this one, he just can't shut up.
He's just running his mouth the whole time.
It's his own podcast.
We got to get George on the podcast.
But he's funny because he's like hella creative with it. And he's like thinking hella outside the box. I mean, I don't know because I don't know if they're still doing podcasts together. He said that he still is doing podcasts. I
saw him coming back on or whatever. They were talking about him starting his own podcast. Oh, I don't know. I saw just like a little clip of it, but it seems like they're cool. At first, did you see the little it was like a little teaser? He was like, yeah, Logan Paul, he fired me.
Yeah, and shit. That was just a clickbait right there.
Yeah, he's just trying to get some clout.
He was like, I'm not even going to get like 5,000 views on this, but he ended up getting like hella views. Probably like close to 1 million, I think.
Yeah.
On the first one, which
that's because there's a lot of people that support him, especially that idea. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, you got to keep the whole like Christianity thing to a minimum." You know, there's not a lot of people that agree with you, whatever. This guy said, "Screw it, I'm gonna just talk about it freely," And that's why people like it. He's actually a really smart guy. A lot of the stuff that he says, it's like, damn, bro, like not a lot of people are willing to talk about this on a podcast. But you're out here kind of like, spreading the love and teaching a lot of people that didn't even hear about God or nothing. They would watch this podcast and be like, oh, let me look into it a little bit. Like maybe it'll open up their eyes a little bit.
Yeah, well,
I like him.
Well, he's just being him, which is what sells. And if you see his vlogs, they're actually pretty interesting. They're pretty cool too.
Yeah, I haven't seen none of those.
No, if you watch it, he's got an interesting channel. He's got like over 1 million, I think over 1 million followers on there. So
yeah, he's a cool guy. I like him.